I want to make sure that we touch base with your chapter, because you were not only an editor, you also were an author, wrote a chapter titled "We Latin Americans Know a Messianic Autocrat When We See One." What was the sort of focus of that chapter?
The focus of that chapter is trying to ferret out, if you compare Trump to other people, I started this conversation talking about Vicente Fox, but the person who is now president of Mexico, his name is Andrés Manuel López Obrador. We call him AMLO. So I compared Trump, AMLO, and Bolsonaro in Brazil, and try to figure out what are some of the common threads that we can pull if we look across this type of masculine dictator type of personality, right? And so it's important to me that when people take this information in, they see that we're trying to pull it apart no matter what the political persuasion. AMLO is a diehard leftist, right? He has been campaigning for years in Mexico as a champion of the people, and came from very humble origins. He's from the state of, they call him Peje Lagarto, all of these things that allude to his humble roots. And Bolsonaro's not in that situation, but he definitely plays the populist angle. And so you can see that no matter what political spectrum they're on, they're essentially using a certain type of masculinity to portray themselves. They are picking a particular segment of the society to essentially be against, to serve as a foil in their political discourse. So Trump has picked out the Squad, for instance, and AMLO has picked out a type of upper class Mexican group that we call fresas, strawberries, right? He's picked out the fresas and the people. I guess sometimes people also call them fifis because their dogs presumably are named Fifi. And so there's a kind of implied tension, between the man of the people and these upper class people who don't want real kind of earthy power. And for Bolsonaro is just the total, Trump 2.0 or 3.0 by this time, where he goes where Trump has gone and even further in Brazil. And it's really devastated the economy, it's devastated their coronavirus response, and it's devastated LGBTQ people as well as environmental groups and the entire Amazon. So
yeah. I love that you're doing these comparisons with current leaders, again, as you said, from across the political spectrum. One other thing I'm curious about is, so what I would love to know, and I know that this is going to get into the area of speculation, is this a work you've put together that we'll look back on someday as an awesome analysis of this weird standout of political language, or is this the first in a series of books that will analyze how this becomes more the sort of standard, the go-to? And so basically what I'm asking is, are you seeing evidence out there that this is having an effect on how other politicians speak? Is this spreading, maybe in the Republican Party, maybe outside of the Republican Party?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think in some ways, I used to live in Tucson, Arizona, and I always thought of it as a canary in the coal mine, because the things that we would see in public discourse in Tucson would suddenly, take the next step up and be what we could see nationally. And I see something very similar with the way that political speech is going, is that now you have the president talking about sort of shadowy groups and setting up other people to be taking essentially the blame for things that he has planted himself. So in that sense, you can see this kind of thing. We've seen it before in terms of propaganda and fascism, but we can see this sort of continuing to happen in other places around the world. So that, for instance, Erdogan has been doing this as well, right? So there's a whole kind of international way in which Trump's discourse patterns license other people to do the same thing, whether it be domestically or internationally. And unfortunately, the genie is out of the bottle, right? Even if whichever way the election goes, there's no way to put back this kind of discourse, right? I don't know if you recall when Gabby Giffords was shot and Sarah Palin put up essentially a target on. Just before she was shot, she had put up a target on the various names of the different opponents. After that, you could really feel a sea change of people thinking, oh my goodness, this is serious. Like, we have to take people seriously who are going to come in and shoot up town hall meetings. And I remember talking to, I had been doing political analysis of Arizona town hall meetings at that time. And I remember thinking, this is a big change. Before that, nobody had training in how to deal with disruptive town hall meetings. And now all the staffers know how to do that. All the staffers would know how to contain a threat. So, so it's a change.
Okay, I hope in this area you're wrong. I hope the genie can be put back in the bottle, because I'm sick of it and I want it to end. I want Twitter to be a little bit less awful, and he has made it pretty bad. But I do agree, super serious. People need to pay attention to it, and I think a great way for people to do that is by taking a look at the book, Language in the Trump Era, Scandals and Emergencies. Norma Mendoza-Denton, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.